It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Tennessee bonus hour of the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are broadcasting live from our studios in downtown Nashville, just a stone's throw from the Tennessee State Capitol in studio. All-star panelist Crom Carmichael. Welcome, Crom.
Greetings, kind sir.
We have some breaking news.
Oh, good.
I would like to get your analysis on this. Governor Bill Leahy here in Tennessee has announced a special session beginning Monday, January 27th, which is a week and 5 days from today. And so 12 days from now.
Yes.
And I think it's just going to be for 1 week because the regular session, I think, is scheduled to happen after that.
Okay.
And this has been long rumored, and I think it's likely to...
I've been whispering it to people.
Whisper?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Are you doing your Joe Biden impression?
Whatever you want to spread the rumor. So you want to whisper it.
Let me read the press release.
Okay.
And then get you. And then I've got some details about the components of it. Tennessee Governor Bill Leahy announced that he will call for the Tennessee General Assembly to convene a special session on January 27th to pass the Education Freedom Act. Additionally, the governor will introduce a disaster relief legislative package addressing recovery needs for Hurricane Helene, as well as future natural disasters. The session will also address public safety measures regarding illegal immigration, as the incoming Trump administration is called on states to prepare for policy implementation. So we have not one, not two, but three topics for a 5-day or 6-day or 7-day special session.
Yes. Now, may I ask you a question?
What do you think?
Right, on the way.
Yes, Crom.
Thank you.
Crom, you may ask a question.
Thank you. This is thank you. Well, this is in your realm, not mine. At least I think it is. When you call a special session, is the goal of a special session to pass legislation during the special session, so that when the special session is over,
the governor can sign it into law.
The governor can sign it into law.
Indeed, it is.
Okay,
it's right there in the Tennessee State Constitution.
Okay, so these three issues, he is hoping to have resolution on, not just discussion of, in the special session.
Now, let me just tell you the history of this, the recent history. You may recall that in October of 2023, the governor called a special session.
Right, yes.
And it was the primary, it had multiple things to address, but the lead dog in that was, in essence, a version of red flag laws, which did not pass.
I understand. I'm talking about the goal. I'm talking about the goal of a special session is to pass very specific legislation.
Exactly.
That is, that the governor is requesting specifically to be addressed during the special session. And during the special session, because the governor is asking, I'm saying these things for you to confirm, that's all that can be discussed.
The only kind of legislation that can be addressed is whatever the governor states in his call.
Okay.
So these are the three areas that they can consider. Nothing else.
Okay. So now that you've helped me on that,
I'm happy to help you.
I can now give you my analysis.
What is your analysis?
My analysis is that the governor has the votes to pass the education bill. That's my analysis. I don't believe he would have called a special session on education had he not, if he did not believe he had the votes.
Is that an analysis or a guess?
I'm not sure there's a distinction there.
Okay.
But
Go ahead.
it's a very good guess. I'll put it that way. I mean, it's my prediction. How's that? Is there a difference? Is there a difference between a prediction and a guess?
Well, I mean, a
I
guess,
love this. This we have fun about.
A guess would be based on nothing.
This is I do not.
Analysis would be based on conversations with private conversations.
And I do not believe that Bill that the governor would have called a special session on education unless he believed he had the votes.
Let me counter that. He called a special session on the red flag law. And he didn't have the votes.
And he's not going to make that same mistake again. Is what I'm.
Is that an analysis or a guess?
That's my analysis.
Okay.
I believe Bill Leahy I think he's an intelligent guy, and I think the red flag was that special session was done in a moment of great public outcry.
So,
when I say public, I mean media outcry.
Let me tell you what I talked to Tom Pappert earlier about this, and he said, basically, I don't know if he has the votes for the Education Freedom Act yet in the House. I think there's still about 10 rural Republican legislators who are persuadable. I think the relief package has been included for the East Tennessee as a bargaining chip. That's what I think.
Okay, that's fair, and I think, but it's also needed. So these are not. Quite frankly, none of these are controversial. All you have is
the Education Freedom Act has a level of
70% of Tennesseans want it.
But
so when I say controversial,
no, Crom, you say you point to the polls. I mean, I'm totally in favor of the Universal School Choice Act, the Education Freedom Act. Totally in favor of it. It's much needed, and there are polls put out by groups that are ideologically aligned with us, Club for Growth, the Beacon Center here in Tennessee, that show 2/3 of Tennesseans support it.
Right.
However, among state legislators and rural school boards, it is controversial.
Okay, I'm not suggesting there's not opposition. What I'm saying is this: when Bill Lee called, when Governor Lee called the special session for the red flag laws, that was very controversial.
More controversial than this.
Okay, that was. I'm trying to draw distinctions here to be helpful.
You're always helpful.
I'm always trying to be helpful. And what I'm saying is that was controversial in the sense that the great percentage of Tennesseans were opposed to what the governor thought he wanted. And I'm not even going to say that he knew what he wanted.
I think that's a good way to frame it.
And so for me, the definition of that is controversial.
Let me come back to this.
I'm not questioning whether or not there's partisan resistance. I'm not questioning whether or not there are Republicans in the pockets of the teachers' unions.
Yeah.
I'm not questioning that.
We know what you're not questioning. Let me get to this. What do you think?
There are actually 3 more things that I'm not questioning, but that's okay, Michael. Please.
Okay, Crom. So here is my my thought on this.
Okay.
They've got 5 legislative days, 7 calendar days to accomplish this. I think if the governor were to call me for advice before he does this, which he didn't do and hasn't done and probably never will, the first thing I would say is focus on one thing, your priority. I would not have included the other 2 items because it's not a lot. It's not a lot of time to do something.
Yeah, and that's why once again I will try to help you understand the error of your judgment here. Okay.
What is the error in my judgment?
Okay, let's assume for purposes of discussion, and you can clarify, correct me if I'm wrong, but are not some of the Republicans in the pockets of the teachers' unions from East Tennessee?
I would say, I'm not even sure I would say in the pockets of.
No,
I would say
that's my characterization.
I know. My characterization would be they are inordinately influenced by the teachers' union, the school board.
You'd say however you want to. But
I'm being a little bit kinder to them.
You can be.
Because I'm kinder and gentler.
Yeah, I'm not. Not on this issue. Not on school choice.
You're so mean.
Lower income kids, especially black children,
I got you,
should not be held hostage to the teachers' unions.
So
and Republicans should stand up.
We got a
for
minute
that.
here.
Here's what I'm saying.
Hold on. Let me frame the question. 1 issue or 3? I would say
3.
1.
3.
You're in favor of the governor's approach.
Yeah, and I want the one on education to be first, because then I want to say
that's how they framed it. Yeah.
And then I want to say to the people in East Tennessee, you want money for support for the people in East Tennessee who've been hurt. I want you to help the black children in Nashville and Memphis by passing this bill. So you pass mine first, I'll help you. And that's the way I would do it.
That's how you do it.
I'd play hardball. Yes, sir. Hardball.
Hardball Carmichael. We've got more. I got some details on the hurricane relief program here. Back after this.
Hi, folks. folks, John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just one scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, Tireget.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. Crom Carmichael, also our panelist, in studio with me here today. We're having a spirited discussion.
Yes, we are.
About the governor's strategy for the special session. I am taking the position that the governor has made a mistake by identifying 3 areas to get special legislation passed in this 5 workday session. And Crom has taken the position, the alternate position, that it makes sense to have all 3 issues.
Yes. Now, may I ask you a question? How will you know, because you and I have a different opinion, and in a matter of 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks, we're going to know whether or not
we will.
So if
and we're on record right now.
But we all agree that all 3 should be passed.
Well,
we all agree the first one should be passed.
My point is that the first one should be passed, and you need 100%, as close to 100% probability that will work.
Okay, so if it passes, if the first one passes, and then the second and third pass, will you agree that it was a wise strategy?
I would say that if he gets bills passed in all 3 arenas, that it was a successful political strategy. Yeah, okay. I would concede that.
You good? All right. Well, then we're agreed.
But I think the strategy, if that's what happens, but I don't think that is he's maximized the chance of success of even one passing. I think it's a mistake.
But if he
passes,
let me
I don't know. No, we made that point.
Okay.
But let's go back to the details. So look, the reason the Education Freedom Act, which failed last time and was introduced in the regular general session,
it was modified.
Had different, but it had different elements to it.
Yeah, I got it.
In the state, in the Senate, the governor had one version.
I got it.
The House had another version.
Yeah, that's not going to be the case this time.
Well, this is why it's a good idea to focus on Education Freedom Act in a special session. There's one bill. The House has the bill.
Yep.
The governor is in favor of that bill, and the state Senate is in favor of that bill.
Yeah.
So what the focus should be, and they've made this the priority, get that bill introduced, get it passed, and focus exclusively on that. It may take 5 days to do that.
Right.
Now, with regards to the other elements, the We Want to Help Trump stuff, that's a great idea, the public safety and immigration.
Okay.
But the problem, there's no specificity as to what that's going to be about.
Okay, but that's the third one.
I understand.
So what's the second one?
Well, I'm going to tell you the problem with the third one first.
Oh,
okay. Wait. Let me get to it, and then before you do your impression of Mazie Hirano.
Okay.
So, Crom, here is the point on this. There's no specificity to it. It's important, but the let's help Donald Trump deport criminal illegal aliens. That is the kind of bill when it's not specific that you need to do that throughout a regular session of the General Assembly. It is not suited to a special session.
Okay.
The Education Freedom Act is indeed suited to a special session because it's a very specific, precise bill. Now,
is the second one a precise bill?
Let me go to that right now.
Yeah, please.
You're a great setup person on this.
I do my best.
We do have details on the second element right now, and now it's quite extensive. So let me read it to you.
Okay.
It's the Hurricane Helene Disaster Relief Bill. They basically say Hurricane Helene was an unprecedented disaster that primarily impacted at-risk and distressed counties, with eligible damage-related costs estimated at $1.2 billion. Governor Lee proposes immediate legislative and budgetary action to support ongoing recovery efforts and allow for proactive preparation for future emergencies. The comprehensive plan invests more than $450 million in direct disaster relief. Now, here are the elements of that plan. Number one, disaster relief grants fund in the amount of $40 million to bolster Tennessee's existing disaster relief fund, as well as reduce the local cost share burden from 12.5% to 5% and fund the state match requirement in order to access federal funds and cover administrative costs. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, Hurricane Helene Interest Payment Fund. That's $110 million to establish a new fund that will help local governments manage loan interest for recovery costs by covering interest costs at 5% per year for 3 years or on loans for recovery expenses. The other element, Governor's Response and Recovery Fund of $100 million to create a new program inspired by the HEAL program, HEAL, that will provide flexible financial resources for future emergencies, including agricultural recovery, unemployment assistance, and business recovery efforts. $20 million for the rebuilding of Hampton High School in Carter County, which was destroyed by Hurricane Helene.
Okay.
That's in it.
Okay. Now, are those things that are in that bill? Do you think there's a sense of urgency about that for the people who are affected?
Well, I think there's a sense of urgency in both. We'll talk about let me.
I'm talking about the people who are affected.
When you ask a question,
okay,
I need to give you a full response.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So here we go. In this particular instance, the floods happened several months ago, and clearly the federal response has been insufficient.
Okay.
Both in East Tennessee and in Western North Carolina. Would you agree with that?
Well, I don't care about Western North Carolina. And
I do.
I'm trying to stay focused because our segment's going to run out before we get to my point.
Well, usually when I ask a question, it would be good for you to answer the question.
All right. Well, I'm answering it. I don't care about North Carolina.
Okay.
In the sense that the bill for Tennessee has nothing to do with North Carolina.
I understand.
Okay, and I will agree. So let's just stick with, did the federal government help us in Tennessee? And
Let's talk about that.
The answer is no.
Yeah. They're
Okay, is there a sense of urgency for the people of Eastern Tennessee to get this funding from the state? Or do they not care?
I would say there has been, since the flood itself, a sense of urgency.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Now, I don't fully know. I know a lot of state officials have been up there and have been engaged. I think the state officials in Tennessee have done a better job. But, and again, I haven't been up there to see. I'm seeing reports that there's still a huge need in all these areas. And I think there is a degree of
urgency,
timeliness.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So in the special session, the first bill that will be voted on is the education bill.
Well,
the second bill.
Well, hold on.
You said that.
Hold on. No, what I said was that the governor's lists as the primary purpose to pass the Education Freedom Act. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that will be the first bill voted on.
Okay.
We don't control that.
Will it be the first bill that's taken up?
I don't even know that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make some assumptions here.
Well,
they are going to take them up in sequence. They're not going to take them up simultaneously.
We'll find out.
Okay. All right. Then I'm going to make an assumption,
which kind of points to my argument.
Well, no. You said you don't know, and I don't know either. But it will either they'll be taken up simultaneously, or they'll be taken up separately. And then, if they're taken up separately, the question is which one will be taken up first.
Yeah, well, we don't know.
I know, but if the education savings account is taken up first, I mean, if the universal or whatever you want to call it, the Bill Lee Education Savings.
Well, he calls it the Education Freedom Act. That's what the governor calls it.
Education Freedom Act. So if that one is taken up first, and the second one is not brought up until the first one is resolved, then there is pressure on the people in East Tennessee, the representatives in East Tennessee, who want the relief for the people in East Tennessee,
right,
to get the first one resolved before the end of the special session, because if they don't get it resolved before the end of the special session, then the relief for the people in Eastern Tennessee is not even brought up in the special session.
So I understand your point, and it's a good point. It's not necessarily a point I agree with, but let me explain.
Okay.
So in this instance, if this bill, whatever it is, gets passed in the special session.
Which bill?
The hurricane relief bill.
Mm-hmm.
If it gets passed in the special session, the governor will sign it immediately, and will go into effect by the first week of February.
Right.
Right. Now, if it's not passed in this session,
mm-hmm.
then it will be passed in some version in the regular session.
Yeah, which may be far less money.
Well, it could be. We don't know the details of it.
I know.
But hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
but it would likely pass March or April. And so what you're looking at is probably a 2-month delay in whatever it is.
Can I give you a counter argument to what you're saying?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Let's say I'm a Republican from Middle Tennessee or West Tennessee.
Right.
And I really want this Education Freedom Act passed. I'm going to tell you from East Tennessee, look, I know what your game is. And it's going to be a private conversation. I know what your game is, and you're in the pocket of the teachers' unions. I get that. If you want my support on your bill for the people in East Tennessee, then I want you to help the people.
So you're talking about horse trading here.
I'm going to say you vote for my bill, and I'll vote for your bill.
So here's
that's what I think's going on.
Yeah, I think that may be the desire. To me, this is both the immigration bill and the disaster relief bill. I would disagree with you on that. I would say that both of those bills are more complex, and they're not the kind of bills that can have a full hearing and understanding as the second and third item to be undertaken in 5 days of a special session.
And what I'm saying is that you're parsing some things that I don't look at that way.
I'm not parsing. I'm explicitly stating.
No, I'm trying to simplify it for you.
Well, I don't need it simplified.
No. Well, yes, you do.
It's not a simple issue. This is a complex issue.
No, this is not. This is how politics works. I'll support your bill if you support my bill.
So you're saying it's a classic log rolling.
So even in the general session, if you want me to support your bill, even in the general session,
I got you.
I will.
We'll come
not,
back after this.
Yeah,
we're going to talk national
that's why I said
stuff.
we need to talk about
Back
it.
after this. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. He's Rob Carmichael. Nashville Pizza Company takes this special time to salute the Franklin men and women in uniform who've answered the call for our freedom. Let's give them the hero's welcome they deserve as they fought hard to restore peace around the world. American troops are our angels of protection, so stand up and salute them proudly. This message is courtesy of our good friends at Nashville Pizza Company, 2176 Hillsborough Road in Franklin. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction. I want to say a few words about our friends at the Nashville Pizza Company, 2176 Hillsborough Road. The Nashville Pizza Company in Franklin reminds us that the current economic times have been tough on many families in our area, and many are finding it hard to make ends meet. Your donations of clothing or canned goods can make a difference for a family in need. During this holiday season, give from the heart so others can have a new start. That's courtesy of our friends at Nashville Pizza Company, 2176 Hillsborough Road in Franklin. They are always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
My fellow Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at D.T. McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it, believe me.
Hey there,
Impersonator not endorsed by
founder
Donald
and
Trump.
CEO of the Glock Store. As a proud sponsor of this show, you may have heard Michael Patrick Leahy mention us a few times over the past 4 years. But today, it's me on the radio telling you how pleased we are to be associated with Michael Patrick Leahy and his dedication to the highest levels of professional journalism. Michael Patrick Leahy has been threatened with jail time in bringing the true facts about that Nashville Covenant shooting to his listening audience. Michael Patrick Leahy, you keep doing what you're doing, and we here at the Glock Store will keep sponsoring your show for the good of Nashville and the entire country. And I'm personally inviting all of your listeners to come visit and shoot at the Glock Store. It's where Michael Patrick Leahy learned to shoot a gun for the first time and where he bought his own personal Glock 19. I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of the Glock Store here in Nashville, just minutes from the airports, worth the drive from anywhere, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy and the Tennessee Star Report.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
In studio, also our panelist, Carmichael. We've done a pretty good job of analyzing the pluses and minuses of the special session. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to turn our attention now to some national issues. And you brought this to my attention. You know, the regime media is crashing and burning. Mm-hmm. And they're losing credibility at, I would say, clearly a geometric rate, perhaps even an exponential rate. Would you say?
I need to think about that. That's pretty rapid.
Probably geometric.
Either one's pretty rapid. Yeah,
probably geometric.
Well, here's what's interesting to me. Let's say that you are the owners of MSNBC. Mm-hmm. Let's just say you're the owners. Mm-hmm. Okay, and you have an audience of a certain size, and you know what that size is.
Right.
Okay.
Small.
It's not as big as you want it to be.
Right.
Okay, but it is a very loyal. It is a very loyal audience.
Well, it was until November 5th.
I'm saying they like to hear the Joy Reid version of the world.
Yeah.
That's what they listen for. They want to hear Rachel Maddow say whatever it is she's going to say.
The Trump is Hitler crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so the problem that they have is they have taken such an extreme hard left position to get a share of the market that wants to hear what they have to say.
And their problem in terms of business is since November 5th, that small share of people who love to hear lefty stuff has apparently declined by like 40%.
Yes, it's declined. Now the question is, and they may be depressed, and it's kind of like it's kind of like after Biden won, Fox News dropped off because Republicans who wanted Trump to win didn't want to listen to the news for a period of time.
Right.
So maybe the left, and so this is the problem MSNBC has. If they fire their hard leftists, if they do that and replace them with people who are not hard left, then the audience, their loyal audience, would migrate someplace else. They would, because they are addicted to the hate speech that comes out of Joy Reid. And by the way, and Joy Reid makes millions of dollars.
That's a good way to put it. They are addicted to the hate speech of the left.
Yeah,
they
are.
love it. It's like the little hamsters who pish the pellets.
Yes. Yeah, and so
give me some more of that
stuff.
Yeah,
and Joy Reid's fine with it because she's making millions of dollars.
Right.
She may or may not believe what she says. I'm not saying she's dishonest, but I have no idea how strongly she feels in real life. I will promise you that she herself doesn't want to see a 90% tax rate on her. I'm absolutely confident of that. And so they're in a quandary. So, but there's some interesting stories here recently that kind of go to this issue. One is MSNBC just lost the top person was forced to resign.
Well, she was framed as looking for new opportunities.
Yeah,
Rashida,
right.
What's her name?
Yeah, Rashida, former CEO.
Rashida somebody.
Yeah, Rashida Jones.
There.
Rashida Jones. It's right here in the article. And so this person says MSNBC president Rashida Jones allegedly resigned her post Tuesday as the struggling liberal network prepares to be spun off. Okay, well now will they replace her before they sell it? Who would want to take that job?
Who would want to buy MSNBC right now?
That's a great question.
I wouldn't.
That's a great question.
I mean, just looking at it from they lose money.
Well, and you also have to look at what is their source of revenue. And most people think
pharmaceutical ads.
No. Most people think it's advertising. It is not.
Oh, it's the cable feed.
It's the cable feed.
Good point.
And more and more young people are not signing up for cable.
They're cutting the cord.
And exactly. Very good, Michael. You are such a youngster. but and they're not. And so that part of their business model is shrinking, and it won't change. That's going to continue to shrink because more and more younger people are cutting the cord.
If we had anticipated this, I'm thinking of the scene from The Wizard of Oz where the Wicked Witch of the West is covered in water. I'm shrinking.
Very good. That's a great metaphor. And so the problem is that they're losing that stream of revenue. And so now the revenue stream from advertising is directly related to the size of the audience and the makeup of the audience.
Right.
And so they're in a world of hurt. Plus, they also have a bunch of personalities who are extremely well paid.
Rachel Maddow, she took a pay cut. The stories I read from $30 million a year to $25 million. But her deal was $30 million a year for one night a week. Did you know that? That was her. Yeah, she's only been doing one night a week for like a year and a half.
Oh my gosh!
But because of the changes you talk about, she has deigned now to come back for 5 nights a week for the first 100 days of the Trump administration.
Okay, well, but it'll be interesting to see because I don't know how those contracts work, how long they are, but whatever the case is, MSNBC's problem is how do they expand their audience without losing some of their most loyal listeners?
So let me just
add.
It's not just MSNBC that has this problem.
Okay.
Jeff Bezos has a problem like this at the Washington Post.
Well, that was another story. You didn't
Same
know
brain.
this. You didn't know this.
I didn't know that.
No. The New York Times has just hired the reporter who was behind all the false information and stories about the Steele dossier at the Washington Post. And so the New York Times is poaching. This is a story from the way the Free Beacon describes it. The New York Times is poaching Washington Post reporter behind many of the embattled newspapers' botched stories based on the Steele dossier. Her name is Rosalind Helderman. And she was...
So they're playing to be the national leader on the left, basically, the New York Times is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And by the way, they're shrinking too.
But not nearly as badly as Washington Post and MSNBC.
And the Washington Post has a unique, and I don't use that word. I rarely use that word because it even is a more precise word than the word special.
Unique means just one.
One. They are the only paper, the daily paper. Their market is Washington, D.C. And Washington, D.C. is the most pro-government geography in the country.
Exactly.
And so if they offer reasonable stories about shrinking government, about the waste, fraud, and abuse in government, they're naturally going to lose readers because the readers are the ones engaged in the waste, fraud, and abuse.
And not only are they naturally going to do that, they in fact are losing readers because at the Washington Post, when Jeff Bezos, who's got we need to give some advice to Jeff Bezos because he's got some hard choices to make here. He's losing $100 million a year.
He doesn't care.
Well, and the deal is, after he chose not to make an endorsement in the presidential race, and he told basically his reporters to try and be more fair. He went from 24 million unique visitors a month in November to 3 million unique visitors a month in December. So,
Michael?
Yeah, 24 to 3. Yeah.
That is breathtaking.
Well,
and if anybody would understand that,
it would be Jeff Bezos.
It'd be Jeff Bezos.
So what he has to do there is what he bought cannot exist anymore. Does not exist anymore. The Washington Post as sort of the 1-2 punch far lefty operation to say, Trump, orange man bad.
No, but it can. It can. But Jeff Bezos doesn't want to be seen as a fool. I'm saying he doesn't want to be seen as a fool. And so he's telling the people there, he says, try to be honest. Just try to be honest. They don't know how.
This is the Jeff Bezos dilemma.
Yeah. They don't know how. And the readers are so pro-government that being honest
doesn't work.
Offends them. Yeah. Offends the readers' base.
Well, our friend Scott Rasmussen has done some polls.
Okay.
He does these great series of polls, which are published at the Napolitan Institute. And what he does is he polls the top managers of the federal government. And the poll that came out just earlier this week said more than half of the managers in the federal government want to obstruct the Trump agenda right now.
More than half.
More than half. Okay. And they will actively try and obstruct the Trump agenda. That is the audience of the Washington Post.
Well, and the other half are not being honest.
Maybe.
When they say that they don't want to obstruct the Trump agenda.
My point, though, is you've got this, we call it the Jeff Bezos dilemma. His dilemma is if he has a vision for a classic newspaper, I think, but he bought a leftist propaganda rag, and he is going to have to acknowledge that in order for that entity to lose less money, and if he wants to move towards a center level of reporting, most of his reporters are going to have to go. And he's going to have to hire new ones, and he's going to have to entirely rebrand 100 years of the Washington Post, which is very hard to do.
Well, let me go back to what you the data point you said on the poll, and why I was being a little bit facetious, but really not. And here's why: what percentage of the people who live in Washington D.C. and the surrounding counties voted for Kamala Harris? What percentage?
It's like 90%.
Over 90%.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when 50% say they're going to try to obstruct Trump, well, what are the other 40% who voted for Kamala Harris going to do? Because everybody in Washington is affiliated with government except the RNC. And I mean, and that's a small band of married people in Washington, D.C. And so Bezos has I'm going to say he has an unsolvable problem. There are some businesses, Michael, that cannot be.
I don't think it's unsolvable.
Okay. I do.
Okay. Well, let me tell you how I would solve it.
How would you solve it?
And then you tell me if it's unsolvable.
Okay.
He's going to have to say, I've been losing $100 million a year. He's going to have to say, okay, I want to lose $75 million for 5 years and then start making some money. What he's going to have to do is he's going to have to fire more than half his staff.
Okay.
Because they're not salvageable. He's going to have to hire a number of younger reporters who are going to do basic, classic reporting, focusing a lot on local issues. Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland, with a little bit of national stuff. And then he's going to have to entirely rebuild the brand. It's going to take him a long time.
Okay. I don't think that'll work. I mean,
Tell me why.
No, because his constituency is a pro-government crowd. Now, I will agree that he could fire a lot of people and save money, and that's a short-term solution to losing less money is to reduce your expenses.
So what I would tell him is to make his constituency not just people who live in Washington and the suburbs, but to convert the Washington Post into a regional entity that covers Virginia politics as well.
But they're getting their information from other places already. I'm just
but
saying
not well.
But
not well.
Maybe not. But
we have a lot of listeners.
You're making the assumption that the Washington Post can become something that they are not even close to now. I'm saying that's
possible.
See, I think Bezos.
Oh, we got to go. Oh, we got some breaking news too.
Ooh.
We'll hear it in News Potpourri.
All right, okay.
It's pretty good stuff.
Okay.
Back after this.
This is Tom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Soul Tea, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Soul Tea has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Soul Tea for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Soul Tea and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Soul Tea, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Soul Tea
bone and
today.
joint health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today. And get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back, All-Star panelist, original All-Star panelist Crom Carmichael in studio. Crom, it's that time of day again. It's time for News Potpourri.
Yes, Michael. It's that time of the program for little tidbits that merit the attention of our audience, but not an entire segment and have a touch of
irony. Well,
yes,
here's
yes,
one
please,
for you.
please.
Breaking story. Literally just broke about 20 minutes ago. Headline is from Just the News. Israel Hamas agreed to ceasefire in Gaza, according to a report. Israel and this is by Charlotte Hazard. Israel and Hamas have agreed to a ceasefire deal that will halt fighting in Gaza, resulting in the release of hostages and Palestinian prisoners, a source told CNN on Wednesday.
You said something. You said, and Palestinian prisoners.
Right.
What does that mean?
I don't know, other than I've seen some reports that what we're talking about here is 35 women and children are going to be, 34 women and children will be released. And the Palestinian prisoners are basically pretty bad guys, from what I can tell. But
Yeah.
let me get to this. Donald Trump has a reaction. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
Okay, this is hot off the presses, came out from Donald Trump about 5 minutes ago. I'll read it to you and then get your reaction.
Okay.
This epic ceasefire agreement could have only happened as a result of our historic victory in November, as it signaled to the entire world that my administration would seek peace and negotiate deals to ensure the safety of all Americans and our allies. I am thrilled American and Israeli hostages will be returning home to be reunited with their families and loved ones.
Yeah.
With this deal in place, my national security team, through the efforts of Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, will continue to work closely with Israel and our allies to make sure Gaza never again becomes a terrorist safe haven. We will continue promoting peace through strength throughout the region as we build upon the momentum of this ceasefire to further expand the historic Abraham Accords. This is only the beginning of great things to come for America and indeed the world. We have achieved so much without even being in the White House. Just imagine all the wonderful things that will happen when I return to the White House and my administration is fully confirmed so they can secure more victories for the United States of America.
I think that is a true statement, especially the part when he says this never would have happened had I not won.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that because there wasn't any real progress before he won, Hamas. But when he says if the hostages are not released, now what I don't understand is how many live hostages Hamas is currently holding. Because I think that story said there were 30-something that would be released, and I think you limited it to women and children. I think that's what you said.
Yeah, it's a fluid, moving story, but that's what I see.
But
hold on.
Go ahead.
Implementation is likely to start on Sunday. Hamas is expected to release 33 hostages during the first phase of an emerging deal. Hundreds of Palestinian prisoners are said to be released from Israeli jails at the same time. There's also a report that there's confirmed another 10 hostages are dead. We don't know how many are alive.
Right.
I mean, I think there's another 70 to 100 unaccounted for.
Right. And that's the part that there's going to be a lot that there'll be a lot that we never know.
It may be, Crom, that these 33 are the only ones still alive. Could be. We don't know.
We won't know. So we'll move to some additional news potpourri. In Los Angeles, there are a number of homeowners who are now breaking the law by defending their homes against the looters, and the police have a difficult time trying to figure out: are they supposed to arrest the looters, are they supposed to arrest the people who are defending their homes? This should not be a hard decision for the police.
For somebody with common sense, it's not a hard decision.
It's not a hard decision, but as long as you've got Karen Bass as the mayor, it's and the police chief having to answer to Karen Bass.
Crazy. Hey, Crom.
Yes.
Are you going to be sticking around and watching President Biden's farewell address tonight to the nation? No, I mean, do you have a root canal instead?
I think what I'll do is I'll probably watch sound bites.
Yeah,
I probably will not watch the whole thing myself because I'm not paid to do that. And
so,
you'd have to pay me. I'd have to be one of these media people who's paid to watch things to comment. I would just watch the commenters comment.
Biden continues to do stupid things. He's removed Cuba from the terrorism sponsorship list.
He is not doing anything, Michael. He is signing papers that are being put in front of him.
Sign this, Joe.
That's what's sign this, Joe. You'll love it. That's all he's doing now.
Hey, did you see what Trump has done? I love this. He's creating a new agency.
Yes.
The External Revenue Service, which will collect foreign tariffs and other monies from foreign countries.
I think it's going to be his second administration is going to be very, very interesting.
Until like 1913, the funding of the federal government was mostly tariffs.
That's right. And that also kept the federal government the expenses of the federal government very, very limited.
Yeah.
This is kind of a funny headline. Joe Scarborough is questioning who directed the FBI not to follow up with Pete Hegseth's witnesses. Let me tell you what's going on here. This is my opinion of what's going on. First of all, FBI background checks are not something that are essential for the confirmations. It's kind of been something that's been done in the past. Mm-hmm. But the FBI has fallen into such disrepute at the highest levels of the FBI that the Trump administration has essentially, the Trump pre-administration, I think, has essentially said anybody in the FBI who goes out and interviews for the Democrats my confirmation people will be fired.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I think is happening. He says he's saying to the Democrats, he said, if you want somebody's testimony against any of my confirmation people, bring them in and have them testify under oath. If they're lying, I'll prosecute them.
Good point. We got time for one more news potpourri item.
Okay.
What do you
have? The last one I have is a headline here that CNN star reporter refuses to apologize. This deal with Zachary Young against CNN, this $1 billion lawsuit, it is progressing, and every story I'm reading about it is not good news for CNN. Even the reporter who lied about him and said these terrible things on the witness stand said, would you like to take an opportunity to apologize for what you said that was false? He said, no, I won't do it. I've won too many Emmys. That was his response. I've won too many Emmys.
Apparently, according to CNN, an Emmy allows you to lie.
There
you go.
See how it works?
Crom Carmichael, thanks for joining us today. Up next, Rob Carson. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We're one day closer to President Donald Trump. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. The website, TennesseeStar.com. See you tomorrow.
Hey, I'm Governor Bill Lee, and I want to talk to you about an important education bill in Tennessee. Everyone knows that education has the power to change the trajectory of a child's life forever. And anyone who's raised a child knows that each one's different in their educational needs, and their learning styles, and their talents. The fact is, parents know their own children best. They know what's best for their education and their future. That's why I'm here to talk to you about Tennessee's Education Freedom Act. It empowers parents across our state to use their tax dollars to choose the school that allows their child to thrive, regardless of zip code or income, all while making significant investments in Tennessee's public education. If you want to learn how you can help make the Education Freedom Act a reality in Tennessee, go to educationfreedomact.com and write or call your state representatives. It's educationfreedomact.com.
This ad is
The
paid
Chief
for
Team
by Job
reminds
Creators
listeners
Network.
here that more and more veterans will be returning home over the next few years, and many are local. These heroes have elite military training and valuable professional skills, but they also need jobs too. That's why the Chief Team is encouraging all local businesses. Let's make it the year we hire smart and hire veterans. That's from the Chief Team, where they say service isn't just a courtesy, it's a commitment. For more information, call 931-444-3572. That's 931-444-3572 for the Chief Team in Clarksville.
The Black
preaching tradition is deeply connected to gospel music.
PBS presents a new series hosted by Henry Louis Gates Jr., Gospel.
Our singers preach and our preachers sing.
Gospel is a prayer. It is our heart's cry to God in lyrics and song.
You feel it deep down in your soul.
Gospel. Streaming now on the PBS app.